This is going to be a really good day. This is going to be a really, really, really good day. Welcome, everybody. Those of you online, out in the world, welcome, welcome, welcome to CSL West Georgia. And those of you who are in-house, welcome to you too. So wonderful for you to get up and get out. We had to get dressed. Now, the thing is, when you're online, you're not necessarily all the way dressed. You may even be still eating breakfast. But those of us here, we are dressed. We are dressed to the hilt today, okay? And we have a wonderful guest soloist today, so wonderful things are happening. It's a magical, magical day. So let's get ready for it, even if you're only half dressed. I know, because I have been there. Okay, let us begin by closing our eyes, turning within, and recognizing, realizing, and knowing in this very moment that all there is God, all there is Spirit, all there is life itself, and that it is flowing in, through, and as each and every one of us. Not one of us is accepted from the full influx of the divine Spirit, divine presence moving in, through, and as all that is. And so right here, right now, we connect ourselves consciously to that indwelling presence. We do that from our side, but it is already there from the infinite side within us. The infinite only waits our attention, our awareness, and our compliance, for it is ready, willing, and able to move in us, through us, and as us, guiding, directing, lifting us up, and helping us, guiding us to have the happiest, most wonderful experience of life itself. But we must choose. And so today we choose to be here. We choose to be present in this conscious awareness of the presence of God as who and what we are. And so in accepting it and being it and allowing it to live through us, we right here and right now connect ourselves to one another, regardless of where we are, who we are, or what is going on in our lives. We are knowing in this moment that each one of us is a blessed expression of the divine. And so it is. Amen. Okay, so our vision and mission statement, if you'd like to stand for that, it's in your program. CSL West Georgia is a joyful global community where everyone belongs. Through our unique spiritual teachings, we provide a safe environment to experience compassionate living. Declaration of Principles. I believe the kingdom of heaven is within us, and that we experience this kingdom to the degree that we become conscious of it. I believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God.
Correct.
And Connie and Cynthia, take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and good morning, everybody out there in what do you call it? Direct feed land.
Yeah. Direct feed.
we want you to have to get dressed and come down here too. All right. Gee. We want to invite everybody to sing along. The words are in your program. To I remember who I am. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. It's pure magic. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. It's pure magic. We are life. We are light. We are love. We are joy. We are peace. We are wisdom and beautiful harmony. magic. Let's sing it again. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. It's pure magic. One more time. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. Is pure magic. Oh, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dorothea, and I'll be doing the readings. The reading is from M.J. Ryan's book, The Gifts of Gratitude. An ever-increasing spiral. As I express my gratitude, I become more deeply aware of it. And the greater my awareness, the greater my need to express it. What happens here is a spiraling ascent, a process of growth in an ever-expanding circles around a steady center. Brother David Stendhal Rast. My Russian grandmother was my greatest teacher in gratitude. A co-worker recently told me, we were very poor, and I often would complain about not having this or that. Anytime we went anywhere, she would use whatever happened as a lesson in gratitude. We'd walk down the street of New York and see a man without legs begging for food. And she would say, now, you send up a prayer right now to God, thanking him for your legs and for the food in your belly. She wouldn't do it to feel superior to the man or to make me feel guilty, but to teach me that around us every day are always to remind ourselves of the bounty we have, no matter what our circumstances. And the more we give thanks, the more likely it is that the blessings will continue. For many years in my adolescence, I would reject her teachings. But lately, I've begun to notice that the more I give thanks, the better my life goes. When I become ungrateful, things tend to fall apart. A lot of the recent writings on gratitude makes it sound like some kind of insurance policy, as if the reason to feel grateful is to make sure good things will continue to come your way. That feels spiritually materialistic to me, like praying for a pink Cadillac or a mink fur coat. True gratitude is a natural response to the miracle of life as we experience it moment to moment, a sense of abundance from the heart that is independent of our desires for the future. That being said, it does not seem to be true that whatever we focus on tends to increase. Have you ever noticed that if you learn a new word, you suddenly hear it everywhere? Happens to me all the time. Or your friend introduces you to a blue flower and you suddenly notice it blooming all over the place. Exactly why this happens, something of a mystery, but I believe it's because everything is around us all the time. We are choosing, mostly unconsciously, to notice certain things and not others, because we just cannot pay attention to everything. As we change what we pay attention to, we notice that more and more happens. Scientists have proposed that something more amazing is at work that really is open to the mind's casual influence is in the world, or in the words of David Coriander, often profoundly created through anticipatory images, values, plans, intentions, beliefs, and the like. This suggests that we actually participate in creating what happens to us by the power of our positive or negative imagery. In either case, the more we are grateful, the more we have to be grateful for, even if nothing more or better is happening at the moment. Our eyes are open to the gifts that were always there in front of us. As Susan Jeffers notes, when we focus on abundance, our life feels abundant. When we focus on lack, our life feels lacking. It is purely a matter of focus.
Why, thank you, Dorothea. That's our very own Dorothea. You can introduce her, or am I?
You.
Oh, I am. This is my great friend, oldest, dearest friend, Sherry Henley.
I am old
And dear.
and dear.
And dearest. We used to be in rock and roll bands together back in the day. We won't go there, okay? And Sherry's a fabulous singer, a Billboard charting singer, and she's going to sing for us today. Sherry, would you like to introduce your song?
Sure. First off, I want to express my gratitude because I had basically stopped singing completely. And I've been friends with her for a long time, and she dragged me out of mothballs to sing for you guys online several months ago. And I'm so grateful to this congregation. Thank you so much. I feel very welcomed and feel like a part of life again.
Wonderful.
This is a song about gratitude, about how wonderful the world is. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I
much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Sherry, I just have to say, in person is a different experience. Really wonderful experience. You just don't get the full impact. Yes, online, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Come on down. Exactly. Yeah. Come on down. Please do. And Connie and Cynthia, I don't think we tell you enough how much we appreciate you being here doing the music too. It's just wonderful to have, to have music in-house as opposed to, from the little box. It just makes a really big difference, everybody. So thanks for that song too, because I looked out, I'm sitting in a place where I can see out the window, right? And out the window, there is trees starting to bloom. There's little red flowers all over this one tree that we see outside. And last week I was driving down a couple of streets that have a lot of trees, during the spring and summer, it's just like greenery all straight down both streets on both sides. And people's houses they put trees in. And now they still have their no leaves. They're still in a winter stage. And it is just amazing. All the years of my life, I've never liked winter because it's cold. Okay. I don't like the cold, but I never really saw the beauty in winter. And I'm looking at all these trees and they've got branches going this way and that way. And sometimes they've gone one like this way and they've turned that way. And it's, there's a large branch that's got bunch of little branches. And every single tree is different. Every single one is different as each leaf on the tree that I've talked about at different times. But never have I thought about or noticed or talked about how the branches themselves are so different. So we just have a few more weeks, days maybe, of winter left. While you drive down the street, notice the trees, maybe in your yard or, around somewhere, and just look at the branches. It's almost like they're dancing in the, in the air, because they have no clothes on. Yes, exactly. It's like the skeletons, right? Cynthia said, like the people at home, yeah. So if you're home alone, you can do whatever you want. But I'm just thinking, that the trees, their skeletons are showing right now in the winter. Anyway, it's just that song just kind of made me think about that. So today we're talking about forgiving to live. Did you notice that today, if you write today in numbers, it's 2, 20, 20, 22. It's all twos and zeros. Is that great? How often does that happen? Not that this is, it's like we've been doing gratitude for a month and it's like it's getting giggly on me now. I'm starting to see things that I hadn't seen before, like look at the date, it's like, and it's like, hey, that's a really neat thing to watch, to notice, and be grateful for. Anyway, I don't know. I told you it was going to be an interesting day today. All right. I warned you at the very beginning. So if you weren't here at the beginning, you have to go listen to the tape so that you can hear the beginning. Anyway, we're talking about forgiveness today. And Einstein said, there are two ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle, and the other is though everything is a miracle. Think about that. There's only two ways to live your life. It's miraculous or it's not miraculous. So think about, do you believe that the universe is friendly? He also asked that question. He said, the single most important decision any of us will ever make is whether to believe the universe is friendly. The single most, think of all the decisions you make. You made a decision, you made multiple decisions this morning. Just getting out of bed, just getting dressed, just deciding, what clothes to wear, those of us who drove, which freeway to ride on, or what streets to do. I mean, you just make one decision after another. And he's saying the single most important decision any of us will ever make is whether to believe the universe is friendly. Stop and think about that for a moment. We were all born to some family, and just think for right now of parents who love each other, who have a child, they love the child, right? They just adore this child. They've been waiting all these months for the child. They've done everything to get ready for the child. And now the child is here and they're just smothering that child with their love, right? What's the next thing they do? They start protecting the child. Protecting them to make sure they have the right food, make sure they have the warmth, make sure they have the car seat when they take them to the doctor, even if they don't take them to visit, make sure that when they take them to see relatives, that they're not, in an environment that's going to make them sick. What are they teaching the child from the very beginning? That the universe, that the world in which they live is not friendly. We have all been taught this in the guise of protection. Stop and think about that. We've been taught in the guise, because what are you protecting from? You're protecting from something that could hurt you, that could harm you, that could destroy you, that could, make your life unpleasant. So we have been told from the very beginning that we are separate, that we can be in danger, that the world is not a safe place, and you need to be protected from it. We are taught this from childhood. It's ingrained in us. And so we grow up because that's all we've known. That's all we've known. And so what happens is, because that's all we know, we start building societies and we start building communities. And what do we build? We build walls. We build walls so these people are safe and these people are not safe. These we need to be, we are protected with, and these are we protected from. So the universe, we are being taught, and it's being reinforced, is an unfriendly place. Our communities are reinforcing it. So we have, we live in communities where we are told we want to be with people who think like us. And we want to be in communities where people act like us. And we want to have people who believe like us around us. And then we have people who vote like us. We have people in our children, we take children and put them in schools that they will be teaching what we want them to be taught, right? So what are we doing? Every time we do that, we do it under the guise of protection, but what we're doing is we're separating. We're separating ourselves, and we're building walls. And what do we know about walls? There's always two sides. Look at that wall right there. We have a wall we've walled off part of our room so that we could have it for an office, right? There's two sides. If you're on this side, you see one thing. If you go on the other side, you see something else. Now, we can walk around that wall and we can talk to one another, which we have done. But what happens when we start building those walls in our mind that we don't even see? Because when we're building walls of protection, when our parents are building walls of protection, they're not saying to us, "Oh, we're building a wall of protection so that so that you don't have to worry about stuff." They're building walls of protection so that you don't get hurt, so that you don't get damaged, so that you don't get abused, because those people on the other side of the wall are going to abuse you. They're not going to be nice to you, and you need to be protected from them. There was Ram Dass tells a story about a samurai, you know, the Japanese samurais, they're big, right? And they are really big people. They're designed to be that way, okay? Because that's the way they fight. So here's this, think about this big, rough, burly samurai, and he goes to see a monk, and a monk is like very small, he's small in stature. And he says to him, "Monk," in a tone of voice, who is you know, the samurai is used to talking monk like that, okay? "Monk, teach me something about heaven and hell." And the monk looks at the mighty warrior and he replied to him with most disdain, "Teach you something about heaven and hell? I couldn't teach you anything. You are dirty. You smell bad. Your sword is rusty. You are a disgrace to the lineage of the samurai. Get out of here. I can't stand you." And the samurai just becomes enraged, and he's trembling, and his face gets reddened, and he's so angry. And he went to them to get some advice, right? And he drew out his sword, and he's raised it, and he's ready to strike the monk. And the monk says very softly, "That is hell. That is hell. How are you feeling? That anger, that, you know, what did the monk do? He attacked the samurai's wall that said, "I'm a good person." I don't know if you, but I've seen movies years ago about samurai. They said they may be big and burly and all this, but they're really sweethearts, that they get along really well. They're really nice people, right? So here, this samurai has really good feelings about himself, and the monk is calling him all his names and saying stuff. How do you feel when somebody says stuff like that to you? Okay, you don't like it either. So he's saying, that's hell. And so the samurai shudders, and he thought of the compassion and the submission of this little man who had risked his life because he was about to chop him up, right? He risked his life to help him understand what heaven and hell was. So slowly he lowered his sword, and he's filled with gratitude and a sense of peace. And the monk looks at him and he says, "That's heaven. That is heaven. When you're grateful, when you're filled with peace, when you're compassionate." But you see, he had to have the compassion first. He had to break down that wall of anger and pain and suffering and abuse. He had to break through that wall to get to the compassion. Okay, it's a wonderful story. It doesn't usually happen that fast. Okay, I mean, that's what we're talking about today, to forgive. If any of you have had somebody in your life, because see, it's not usually something that happens, like they don't usually tell you a little bit at a time, "You're dirty, you're ugly, I don't like you." They don't do that. You know, little kids do that, you know, on the playground. They do stuff, but adults don't do that. No, they just say stuff in a little snide kind of way, a little sneaky kind of way, or they gossip to somebody else, you know, about you or whatever. They don't necessarily come straight at you. They come around from the side, and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds, right? Until all of a sudden you go like, "Dang, I don't like being around that person. I don't know why I don't like being around that person," because that person has been giving you knives. That's what's been happening. They've been attacking you, the little pinpricks here and there, okay? And then you realize the separation that you have, that there's a big wall between you, and you have to do something about it. And that's where forgiveness comes in. Now, who does this help? Because if you've built a wall around yourself, guess what's happening? If here you are, just imagine now, okay? There's this wall in front of you. What's happening if you have this wall in front of you now? Stop and think about, actually, we're getting a lot of walls being built these days, because you go, anywhere you go, there is a plexiglass wall. Anywhere you go. So you can see through that wall. But what about the mental walls that you don't see so clearly through? Okay, so you have this wall, right? You're on one side of it. You have no idea what is on the other side. You don't know what that person's experience is. You don't know what their past. What you can be sure of is they've been taught the same thing you've been taught, that you have to protect yourself from the beginning of the time that you are born, and that, you know, you've got to be in a community where people think like you, believe like you, act like you, and trust you. And that's where your trust level is. Everything else is untrustworthy. And so you've got this wall, and you're just all walled in, all around you. And inside that wall is all the people that you like, all the people that you love, all the people that you're getting along with. And what's on the outside? All those people that you've been told are untrustworthy. They're not necessarily, because you know what? They're on the other side of the wall going like this. Oh, this is my inside of my wall, and these are the people I love. These are the people I care about. These are the people that are nice to me. These are the people that I think like, that I believe like. They're on the same side. So you're on this side, they're on that side. You got this wall between you, and each side thinks, I can trust me, but I can't trust those sides. We do that on an individual basis. We do that on a community basis. And the only way to break through it is to do what? Begin looking at people from the perspective that we have all been taught the same thing. And we've been divided up so that we can be protected. Well, I'm here to tell you that doesn't work. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. Self-protection tells us, if you're in the self-protective mode, you're saying that the universe is not a friendly place. And Einstein, through all his work, is saying, yeah, the universe is a friendly place. Jesus said, the earth is a friendly place. Gandhi is like, the world is a friendly place. Martin Luther King, the world is a friendly place. People have been telling us the world is a friendly place. And yet we keep putting these walls around ourselves and preventing ourselves from experiencing other things. What's the one big thing that we do to keep us separate after we become adults, of course, is we make judgments. We make judgments about who those people are on the other side of that wall. We make judgments about, you know, who they are, what they think, what they believe. I read somewhere this week, you know how you get these little notifications in your email and I got a new phone, right? I got to figure out how to turn off some of these notifications because I'm getting way more than I want. But anyway, one of the notifications, sometimes you get something good. And it was saying that they are, whatever studies, whoever they did, this is just a notification, so I didn't read the whole thing. People are not wanting to live in districts that are red. People are choosing where to live based on whether the district is red or blue. Now, come on, people. Okay, I mean, it's like, I only want to be with Democrats, or I only want to be with Republicans. What happens? What we're doing, that's a wall. That's a wall. And when you have a wall, you don't talk to the people on the other side, so you don't know what they're thinking, and therefore you become afraid of them because they become the boogeyman. I don't care if it's a red and blue wall. I don't care if it's a race wall. I don't care if it's a school wall. I don't care if it's just a neighborhood wall. The walls are within ourselves, and we're separating based on that. And we're not all in the same room all the time. We change rooms, you know. but even when we change rooms, we're still with people that we agree with. And at some point, if we're going to learn to forgive, We have to learn to not judge those other people as being whatever it is we've judged them to be, and recognize that they too have at the basis of who they are is love. Jesus said, love your enemies, bless him who hurts you, do good to him who hates you, pray for those who take you by force and persecute you. In so doing, you will be sons of your heavenly Father. That's in Matthew. So why do you want to love your enemies? Because love is of God. And each one of us is as a spiritual being. See, this month we're talking about our topic is living everyday wonder, the inner life. The way we get rid of the walls is to turn within, because the friendly universe is not out there, it's in here. The friendly universe is within us. It is the love we find within ourselves, is the compassion we find within ourselves, is the joy that we find within ourselves. It is the peace that we find within ourselves. That it's our inner life that is friendly, that is loving, that is accepting, that is joyful, and that which we can be grateful for. If we are about protecting ourselves, then we are living in a universe where we have fear, and where we need to protect ourselves. And therefore, we live in an unfriendly universe. The topic is forgive to live. When you forgive, you begin to live from the place of your inner self, as opposed to looking into the outer world and making decisions about how you're going to behave. So here's the thing. Babies know who to go to and who not to go to. You never notice that? They will, and there are family members sometimes that babies don't want to go to. And I have watched people say, oh, that's grandma, or that's Aunt Susie, or whoever. Go, it's okay, go ahead. And they force the baby to go to that person. And that person, the baby knows, because why? The baby's more in tune with their inner self than the parents are. The parents are like, oh, we got to keep grandma on our side, or we have to keep Aunt Susie, coming to babysit or whatever. Okay, and so what we do is we force the baby to be in an unprotected environment, because we teaching them not to trust themselves, because they're going like, no, I ain't going near grandma. I'm not going near Uncle Joe. And these are just names, people. But okay, I'm just pulling them out of thin air. Doesn't mean anything. Okay, the thing is that babies know who not to go to. And sometimes it's not all the time. Sometimes it's just today. There's a negative vibration coming from this person, and their babies are going like, no, I don't want to be bothered with you. And then another day, they're just all over, hugging and kissing and everything. We have to learn to let babies decide who they want to be with, because they, in a way, they're telling you what you have failed to notice for yourself, that there are certain people in the family that are not safe. And the babies will tell you which people are not safe, but we don't pay any attention to them, because children are seen and not heard. We don't think that they have the level of value. So we've built a wall around children and their intelligence and their ability to be aware and conscious, just because they can't talk to us and say, don't go near that person. They're not a safe person. They may not be abusing you or in the family. They may be out abusing somebody else. Do you see? We have to then later on learn how to trust our intuition, because we've been taught out of it when we were children. How many times when you think back to your own childhood, when you said something and the parents said, oh no, that can't possibly be true. But you know it was true, and you just stopped arguing because you looked up and they're bigger than you, they're the authority, so they must be right and you must be wrong. So you've learned from the time you were a child that you can't trust yourself, that you can't trust your intuition, that you can't trust your own divine guidance. And so that's why Science of Mind comes along and people go like, wow, I feel like I'm home. Why? Because we say, trust your intuition. It's pretty good. You can rely on it. And nobody's told you that before. But it resonates, doesn't it? There's something in you that goes like, yes, I know that's true, because I know somewhere in me knows this universe is a friendly place, and I have come to a friendly place, and I belong here, and I have joy here, and I have peace here, and I have love here, but I have to find it in myself. Okay, I have to find it in myself. I can't find it out there. Thich Nhat Hanh says that Jesus is the Western Buddha. So here's what Buddha says about this. He says, he has insulted me. He has abused me. He has robbed me. He who lives with these thoughts will never be free from hatred. Wow. If you live with these thoughts, you're not going to be free from hatred. For hatred never conquers hatred. Hatred is conquered only by love. Then he says, this is the law. Love is the law. That's what Ernest Holmes teaches, love and law. Love is the presence, law is the way. We have to decide that this universe is a friendly place, but it's not the world. It's the universe that is within us. This is where we find the safety. Notice when you're into judgment, because when you're in judgment, you're living in the world and you're dividing, you're protecting yourself, and you're seeing that there's something to fear in the world, and so therefore you need to protect yourself. You build a wall around yourself, and you're not paying attention to your intuition, because your intuition will actually tell you who to be with and who not to be with. It will guide you in places. It will tell you so much as which street to take down if you're listening. Okay? So the thing is that we have to begin to live from our inner life. Forgiveness releases us from the pain of separation, from isolation, and from loneliness. But the only way that can happen is if we turn within and find that place within ourselves where we find the source of love, the source of joy, the source of peace, the source of wisdom, the source of understanding. This does not mean that you're going to be abused in the world, because what's going to happen? Your intuition is going to kick in, and it's going to say, you don't want to go to that business. No, you don't want to work there. You don't want to be friends with that person. Your intuition will tell you this. And your love will what? Attract, because love attracts. And forgiveness allows us to open ourselves with compassion to people that we are not necessarily going to think the same way we do. But you know what? People don't have to believe the same thing you do in order for you to love them. You know that, don't you? Okay? They don't have to think the same. They don't have to live in your neighborhood for you to love them. They don't. I have friends that live clear across the country. I love them. They're not anywhere near. I know people who I don't agree with, but I get along with, and I love them, and I care about them, and I support them. So the thing is that you can take down the walls if you will learn to live from that centered place within yourself where you know who you are and you trust who you are. And then you can forgive anybody for whatever, because you know that what they're doing is just protecting themselves. They haven't come to a place where they can understand that my intuition guides me, directs me, leads me, supports me, and loves me. And so therefore, I can love anybody I want to in the world. They haven't come to that place yet. They still are living in that protective space of, you know what? Don't go near that person because this is not a friendly universe. We got these walls up here and we're not crossing them. And those walls are pretty obvious these days. You're seeing them all over the place. People are all over the place. You know, just think about the vaxxers and the anti-vaxxers. They don't talk to each other. And yet, when you talk to them, I've talked to a couple of them, they have very reasonable reasons for not doing what they're doing or for doing what they're doing. We all have, we all are coming from a place of love, from the source of who we are. And so therefore, if we are born into a world where they're saying to us from the very beginning, this is not a friendly universe, you have to protect yourself, then we're all learning that. And we're just protecting ourselves in different ways. So we grow up, and then we come to the science of mind and we learn something different. And that's what we're doing. We're learning something different. We're learning that truly we can be free from all of those things that they have told us in the world by knowing that the universe is really a friendly place, finding that place within ourselves that is the place of love, where we know it is the truth because it resonates within us. We know it. We know it. It's covered up, but we know it. And it resonates when we feel it, when we find ourselves in that situation. So release yourself from the pain, the separation, and the isolation through forgiveness. That allows you to what? Live joyfully, peacefully, lovingly with people who are around you that support you and care about you, and that you can then therefore care about them. So let's turn within. And as we close out the outer world, we open ourselves to that place of oneness, that place where there are no walls, no separations, no divisions. There's no limitations. There is only the creative self-expression of the one. It is whole. It is absolutely perfect. It is the very origin. It's the absoluteness from which we all have come. It is that which we are throughout this life. It is that invisible that we have come from and will we return to, and it is with us and through us and as us throughout our life form. And so we are right here and right now reminding ourselves that there was a time that we knew this truth. We knew it consciously. We knew it in the very down to the very cells of our body. We knew who we were. And so right here and right now, we are opening ourselves to be consciously aware of who we are, to align ourselves with our intuitive nature, to know that that intuition is the divine speaking in us and through us and as us. It is our higher self, our joyful self, our loving self, our divine beingness that is expressing in us and through us and as us. And as long as we are aligned with it, there can be no harm that comes to us. For it is our divinity that is our protection. And so right here and right now in this awareness, of all that is going on. I told you, I warned you from the very beginning, okay? I knew it. And so it is.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's all good.
I mashed the wrong button.
Scared
No,
me to death.
that was a song that Sherry wrote.
I came to church and the ceiling fell in.
That's possible, Sherry. Marcia, can we see the people at home? Yeah? Yeah? Can we? No? Okay, we can't. Well, I wanted to see what they were wearing. Don't you want to know, Dorothy?
Stand up if you have on pants.
But anyway, hello.
There
Oh, look, there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got on clothes from the waist up. Yeah. I'm
That's
checking
all that
them out.
counts. That's all that counts when you're home.
I think they comb their hair too. Let's see if I can get the right song.
How about that?
Nice. Okay. Gary's gonna sing Daniel Nahmon's song called "One Power," and as I said when she sang it online for us, she sings it better than anybody in the world.
It's not too much to live up to. Sit there. One power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. There's one power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baula, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love inside of you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in our hearts we're all the same. And we'll remember if we close our eyes to see that such differences were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baula, Hashem, or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love inside of you and me. One power, one power, one power. We're one power, one power, one power. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon for the love that is most deep. It's all one power, one power, one power. We are one power, one power, one power. It's the power of the love that lives in you and me. It's the power of the love inside of you and me. One power, one power.
Oh, geez. All right. Oh,
Oh, you guys are gonna make me cry.
that was amazing. Just amazing. That's just, yes, yes, yes. Wow, wow. She can come back anytime.
I'd like to say that many years ago, I was very close with Don DeCenza. I don't know if you all remember him from Unity North. I was on the road with him in the 70s in a band.
Okay.
And met him again later and started singing at Unity North. And I had made a commitment to him at that point that I would be available anytime he wanted me to come and sing. And so I did that. So I've made that same commitment to Cynthia. And I'm going to say it out loud for y'all that, anytime you want me back, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Make you cry.
Yeah. 2 weeks in a row. ZZ last week and Sherry this week, and yep. Oh my God. Just.
We may have to stop.
Oh, geez, yeah. We're breathing here. Yeah. So, yep.
I tell you,
Wow.
best in the world.
Music makes a difference. Music makes a difference. Oh, geez. Well, where do we go from here? So Connie, Ronnie's telling me, money time. Okay, would you join me in saying our giving affirmation, please? Freely, I give with a feeling of abundance, knowing that my gift blesses others and myself as well.
Let's see if I can get it together here. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I'm so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Oh, my goodness. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is such a wonderful day. Thanksgiving affirmation is in your program. I am grateful for the divine givingness circulating abundantly through my life, our community, and our world. And so it is. Yes. Not yet. Almost. Okay, so last week I announced that we were doing a trip to the museum in Alabama, and we have canceled that experience. Our organization, we needed 50 people to go on that just to break even, and we had 12. So that's a long ways, and when you have 12 people and you have hotel contracts, you sometimes have to cancel those contracts, or otherwise you wind up being financially responsible for them. And so that's what we had to do. However, we have a few people from our congregation that wanted to go on that trip, and so I'm going to look at, after we kind of get past a few things, to look at how we can make it a trip that we take ourselves, because it really is I've been there, it's worthwhile trip going to, and Lily's sitting here going, yeah. It helps us to break down some of those walls, that we have built up about people and things and whatever. So there's that. The other thing is that I didn't bring it with me, but up here, I have it in my bag. We've been reading the magic book, and I yesterday morning, I was going through the activities, and it was like, there's things that you could remember. These are things that not just to do once. Here, this book here. Okay, this magic book. Yay! And it's all about gratitude. Each day of the month, we're doing something that has to do with gratitude. But she says, do this, and then you move on to the next thing. So as I was doing, I was realizing some of these things need to be done more than one day. So I went through the days and I put them down. I didn't put them as a day, but I put them as activities. So the magic relationships, magic health, magic money, magical way of activity, the magic ingredient, so forth and so on. Okay, I put them all this. If you went online and you signed up, from the newsletter to do the book and committed to do the book, then you got a copy of this in your email. I sent it yesterday. For those of you who did not, however, I have it here, and we have a new printer. And so if you would like a copy, we will print you a copy on the printer afterwards. Okay. For those of you who are at home, well, you have to email us and say, I would like a copy if you did not sign up. Or we took it down this week, but if you used last week's newsletter, there's a link in there for you to go on there and say, I'm doing this book too. And we'll send it to you from there. Okay, thanks, Dorothea. Here's your book. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to stay for a few minutes after church if you want to, after the service is over. Those of you who are not interested, you can go offline. Those of you who are here, if you're not interested, you can leave. But the rest of us are going to stay around, talk a few minutes about our book and our experiences and what's happening with us as a result of doing gratitude on a regular basis. Those are our announcements. Okay.
We're on.
How about we have a gratitude song. Now for this, stand up. You can stand away from your camera, okay, if you're not fully clothed, because keep something in mind, we don't all want to see it, okay? But this is the gratitude song, and it has hand motions to go with it, all right? Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. And I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I feel so grateful, I'm so grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of
more time. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Feel so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
All right.
Yes.
All right, so our community closing affirmation is in your program. We go forth today knowing that we are God's blessing in the world, and only good goes from us, and only good comes to us, and so it is. Thank you for visiting with us today, and we will see you next week. Give us about 2 minutes, and we will. You can just leave that up, Marcia, because we're going to do the faith thing, the magic thing. Yeah, the magic book thing. Okay, I'm going to go get my book.